We'll start with prayers. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। Okay, today we will start new chapter. This is the second last chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is chapter 17th. It's called Division of Faith. That's the name of the chapter. Acronym for this chapter is FACE. Chapter 16th, we discussed about divine and demoniac. Um, we have to start with chapter 16 today, right?
Yes, Prabhuji. 16th, not 17th.
Okay, thank you. So, looks like I'm too tired. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. So we finished the 15th chapter, which was Purushottam Yoga, and there um, we discussed about mm, um, uh, ongoing life, how mind carries the aroma and take us to different life, and then finally we came to the point of um, um, Krishna explaining about himself, how there are two kind of living entities. They are fallible and they are infallible, and there is a third kind of living entity who is superior to both. In the spiritual world, and he is to be worshipped. And then we saw Krishna himself claims that that living entity, the supreme living entity, is me, and I am worshipped in this world and in the Vedas as that supreme personality of Godhead, as Purushottama, the supreme person. And Krishna says, one who knows this truth is the knower of everything. One who comes to the point of understanding that Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead, that person knows everything. There is nothing more for him to be known. So that was Purushottam Yoga. Then chapter 14th we discussed about uh, the three modes. Three modes. Now there are certain people who, even though Krishna explaining that there is a superior living entity beyond the supreme personality of Godhead, and that's me who is to be worshipped. Some people worship him, and some people, in spite of such clear instruction, Bhagavad Gita, some people still are atheistic and they say there is no God in picture. So there are such people. So that brings us to this chapter, which is the divine and demoniac natures. Krishna has already explained a lot about divine qualities. In the 12th chapter, Krishna says, one who is without false ego, non envious, who does not think himself to be the proprietor, um, and many other factors, who is tolerant, who doesn't care for the place where he is living, who is ever satisfied, who finds his pleasure within, who is engaged in devotional service. Those are all divine qualities. And chapter 12th Krishna explained, and in chapter 13th also, when 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 Arjuna asked six questions in 13th chapter, Arjuna asked, um, what is jnanam, what is knowledge? He said, what is prakriti, what is purusha, what is jnanam, what is gyayam, what is um, mm, Kshetra and Kshetragya. So six questions Arjuna asks. One of them is, what is knowledge? And Krishna says, one who is humble, who is acting with humility, tolerance, and then we saw over 20 qualities. And Krishna says, one who acts in these qualities, he is in knowledge. And who is naturally always engaged in devotional service, he is in knowledge. So already a lot is spoken about divine qualities. So this chapter mainly focuses on demoniac qualities. Now, acronym for this chapter is dog, and let's see what. Um, so D stands for divine and demoniac. Um, uh, O stands for opinion and outlook. So this is the main section, which is opinion outlook, where we will see how does a demoniac person thinks, what's his mentality is, how he acts. It's a very revealing section actually. Uh, some of you may enjoy it. And the last G stands for gateway to hell. This is the first place in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna uses the word hell. It's always positive, but when he comes here and Krishna speaks about the demoniac people, and then Krishna says, well, these are the people I do really something with them. And then there is gates way to hell. So let's jump in to this section. Knowing yourself. How well do you know yourself? There are two aspects of everyone's personality. One is material personality, and one is spiritual personality. Spiritual personality is something that we may. Okay, spiritual personality is something that we may not be able to. excess at this point of time. Uh, so we have these two personalities. Let's go. Then, knowing ourselves, physical nature. Well, I can read some of this, and then once we come to the verses, maybe I'll request devotees to help me with reading. We all think we know ourselves well, but we have a bias. It's difficult to see ourselves when we are in a frame. When we are in a picture frame, we don't know how we look. And then we go to the camera and then we scroll back. And then we think that, oh, I'm not looking so great. Oh, the camera is great. I'm looking so good. So we cannot see ourselves when we are in a frame. Likewise, we are in a frame and we don't realize our own natures, our own personalities. Like some people now, we can, I have shortened it down. um, Previously this presentation, just material personality, was way bit longer. um, so some people are like people oriented, some people are like task oriented, some people are um, s- they are like they want to go in the foreground and want to become the highlight. Some people wanted to, they are happy just serving in the background. They have different natures. Some people have kind of, they become angry very quickly at small things, and some people they tolerate a lot. Some people um, they are very kind of straightforward in speaking, and some people are kind of very manipulative and they don't really speak, they just keep in their heart. So different people have different personalities, and um, uh, many a times it's difficult to know ourselves. Even if we know ourselves, we don't know how we what others have opinion about us is difficult. So because we have a bias and we think that everything we are doing is justified. So that's something about our physical nature, knowing ourselves. Now, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, that it is said that they act like mirror. I don't know what I have written next, but let us see. Okay, we have this written here. Books like Bhagavad Gita act as a mirror. Mirror means you look into the mirror and you see yourself. Likewise, you try to see yourself through the words of Krishna, and then we realize, you know what? I think I have a lot of ego, and you know what? I think there are many other things also, and you know what? All these good qualities, I don't think I really have them. So they act as a mirror, and then we see where we lack and what we have, and what we have to work on. Likewise, if we are sincere, Krishna reveals who we are. Close friends, spiritual guides helps us to understand ourselves deeper. If we are humble and willing to accept suggestion and asking others, then they can help us to know. Most of the time, others knows us better than we know ourselves. How important it is? How important is it to know our nature? Now, one may think that um, why we are discussing this isn't this is Bhagavad Gita. So, how important it is know our nature? Mm, it is important to know our nature, so that uh, um, we can work on ourselves, and we can serve according to our nature. I'll elaborate more on this later. Here is something more. When we write with our left hand, slow, imperfect, unnatural. You write very slowly, make lot of mistakes, and it's not natural for you. Likewise, if you act against your personality, this is what you are going to experience. When we try to be someone whom we are not, um, um, it won't work. We have to be ourselves. Somebody is able, someone, everyone has a different style. No, different style of management, different style of leadership, different style of dealing. They all may get a similar results in a way, but they work in their own ways. Every living entity is individual. But if we try to copy someone else's nature, um, uh, it will be unnatural for us. We won't be able to do it, and people won't be comfortable as accepting in that way also, because that's not our nature. Another thing that also helps is, um, these natures can be seen even from Ayurvedic perspective. Like some are Pitta, some are Kapha, some are Vata. They all have different natures. And how this nature may help in a small way, my experience is it's best if we accept the person who they are. Where problem comes is when we try to when we have a bias about ourselves, that I am a great personality, and others, if they don't fit in my definition, because only I fit in my definition, if others don't fit in my definition, then they have lot of faults, then they are not really good people. And but the thing is, this is called biasing. It's like we take ourselves as reference, and then when we look in others and they differ from us in certain way, then we think we have a bias that things should happen in this particular way, because that's how we like to do things. Like, um, day for yesterday, I was in someone's home, and they had deities in their home, husband wife. They serve um, Laddu Gopal deities, and they have some more deities in their homes, in their home. So wife was complaining that um, um, that husband does not dress them properly, and husband has a similar complaint for the wife, and that she dresses in a way which is awkward. So the thing is, I discuss with them that, well, you both have your own nature, and you both like to see the Lord dress in a certain way. But what Krishna sees is devotion, and you both have excellent devotion. But these external changes. So best is if we accept the person the way they are, and not see, um, and not try to project ourselves in that person, thinking that the way I think, how they should be dressed, is what Lord likes. Now here comes a biasing. Okay, I want the Lord. I like the Lord in this way. So um, this is the best way, and anybody does not do the way I like, then they're not so good. So this was the kind of the crux of the complaint that I received there. Not a complaint, just a sharing. um, Devotees never complain. So so this is called biasing. If we like, I'll give another example. I have learned a lot from these things in my own life. um, we tend to be very merciful and compassionate to others, and we are too quick to judge others. Something practical I'm speaking here. For example, if I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and if somebody else is getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, then the judgment comes, they are not serious in their Krishna consciousness. Judgment, it's just an example. There can be many things you can think of in day-to-day life. I'm just sharing devotee examples because I have seen a lot in my life. So this biasing comes. uh, um, why this is there? Well, different bodies there are different body types. Everyone has a different body type. Some people, for them, waking up at 4 o'clock is very kind of easy, but for others, different body type, waking up at 6 is also very difficult. It has nothing to do with their Krishna consciousness. They may be more advanced and possibly they are more advanced, but there is a biasing that this is a right thing to do as per scriptures. I do it, others don't do it. So we don't understand, we don't consider another's nature, uh, and body type, and we are too quick to judge. We are too kind of biased to put ourselves in the right position, and anybody else who doesn't think the way I think, behave the way I behave, or etc., then there must be some fault in them. Another example, this is something it's very small thing, but many things can be said. Like, I have seen this thing a lot in my life, living in a temple and dealing with many people. Some people, when they get up, they like to take a lot of time before they actually get up. And some people, when they get up, they take 10 seconds to get out of the bed. Different body nature. Pitta people are very active, so they immediately get up. And Kapha and Vata people, they are a little slower. So different body types. It's nothing about being judgmental. It's just about this person has a particular nature. I have a particular nature. Krishna does. It's just an external. It has nothing to do with our individual devotion. Krishna sees just that if we are doing everything for his pleasure, and how serious we are in our hearing and chanting, how sincere we are in doing those activities. Krishna does not see these externals, but we tend to see externals. Likewise, I have noticed some people are very fast, so they can do things very quickly, and some people are very slow. So some people can do things in possibly half an hour, which another person may do in maybe 1 hour 15 minutes. Same thing. He just hands and legs move very slow. Basically, the mind works slower. That's based on one's previous karma also. I mean, that's based on one's previous karma. That also does not have to do anything with one's devotion. That person who is apparently slow may be very sincere in his or her Krishna consciousness. So there is a material personality that we carry, and if we can broaden our perspective of different material qualities, we kind of start accepting everyone as who they are. Many times, what happens when people get married, they try to change each other, and the result is they continue struggling to change each other. Change does not come, and acceptance come. That's all. People start accepting each other because it takes years to change, honestly. Based on one's karma, one's physical nature is decided. It takes years to change. So change does not come, but after a lot of struggle, they come to realize that, well, there is no hope. So let's accept, let's have a peaceful life, and let's accept. That's why in the beginning, now, there are a lot of struggles in when two people come together. Um, so it's very helpful even in our Krishna consciousness. Especially, I'm speaking from the point of um, Srila Prabhupada said we make progress if somehow we can develop the vision that others are very advanced in Krishna consciousness, and everybody else is doing much more, um, is advancing much faster, and are better than me in spiritual life. That brings humility that is conducive instead of pride coming in, other factors coming in. um, so much more can be said, but here is something, physical nature. Another important place where it's important to know our physical nature is, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, um, mm, um, every duty is covered by fault. Better to do your duty perfectly than others' duty imperfectly. So Krishna recommends us to be who we are, and There will be faults. Everyone has faults. Better to be who you are with the faults rather than doing something which is against your nature. So when I say against your nature, we mostly relate it with some are Brahmanical by nature, some are Kshatriya. So they are like they have a lot of anger, Kshatriya people, and they really like to lead. They are leaders, born leaders. They like to keep things in their control. They want things to be exactly the way they can. They don't want anything to lose their grips. So Kshatriya nature. Brahmana nature is like peaceful. If things are going against your control, all right, that's okay. Brahman, it's a good mode of goodness. Well, it's very conducive for Krishna consciousness, Brahmanical nature. Yet at the same time, we understand different people have different nature, and um, let them grow in Krishna consciousness accordingly. But their physical behavior will change. Vaishya people, they have a completely different way of thinking. Completely different way of thinking. Very much money oriented and gain oriented because passion and ignorance. Shudra people, like one of my um, uh, senior, he is temple president Yugal Kishore Prabhu. He was telling me other day that he said, Brahmanas, you respect them, they will be happy. And the Kshatriyas, you give them a leadership role, let them lead, they will be happy. And Vaishyas, you show them some money, show them some uh, business opportunities, they'll be happy. And in the Shudras, you give them gifts, give them some goodies, and they'll be happy. So different people have different natures, so they get satisfied in different ways. So, anyways, whatever was coming in my mind, I was sharing about this physical nature. Everyone have their own strength and personalities. If we try to copy others, it will be unnatural. That's why we are discussing it's important to know our nature. Once we know our nature, then we can serve according to our nature. Especially if you are a leader, this is very important. May not be relevant to all of you, but especially if you are a leader anywhere in your field, it becomes important to know the nature of others you are leading. And if you understand the different natures, that will come to you simply by closely understanding Bhagavad Gita. And just by looking at life, you can understand. If you can identify the people you are leading, whether at your work or anywhere, if you can identify their natures, and if you can engage them or give them responsibilities according to their nature, that is required. Especially, I'm talking about spiritual leadership, but the principle applies everywhere. See who 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 is who is of what nature and give them service accordingly. They'll be very satisfied. Something. So it becomes very important to know our nature. It becomes very important to know the nature of other personalities that you are dealing with. Then there will be way less conflicts, way less. If you know, okay, this person is Kshatriya, so now you know that now you know he has all the qualities of Kshatriya. So now you know in a particular situation how he will behave, what he will like, what he won't like, because Kshatriyas have a quality. And if you have a good understanding of Kshatriya nature, then it will become very easy for you to deal with him because you will have a similar expectation for him. Then it's not like that I tolerate so he should tolerate. I am peaceful so he should be peaceful. I am liberal so he should be liberal. No, he's a Kshatriya. He has his own set of qualities. So you deal in such a way that he is happy serving Krishna. Give him such roles and responsibility. He's a Vaishya, so give him responsibilities accordingly. So and he is a Brahmana, so he doesn't need anything, but he should be respected. So deal him in this way. So it becomes really important, especially dealing in devotee circle. I'm talking from spiritual point of view, my personal experiences. So it becomes important to identify ourselves and know the personalities in general. Okay, okay. Here is certain things that will help you in your spiritual life also. I'm sure many of you know this. Some people are people oriented and reserved. So they are very sincere in their Krishna consciousness. They are very steady in their bhakti. They are very patient. They are very modest, down to earth. It's a different nature. And some people are like outgoing and task oriented. They are very competitive. They are directly they speak. They are very dominating. They are very result oriented. It's a different nature. And is some people better than others? Yes, some people are better than others. That is a fact. Yet they are different natures. And how do we know better and better or not? Well, we relate it to the modes. This is, the today's industries they use this, but in our Vedic culture, these same principles can be seen from the perspective of Kshatriya. Like outgoing, task oriented is Kshatriya. He's a leader. He gets things done. And certain people are Brahmana, certain Vaishya, certain people are Shudras. Okay. Now, knowing yourself, spiritual personality. Okay. Now, then there is a spiritual personality. Spiritual personality is something that relate with the soul. Spiritual personality. Spiritual personalities. Now, this becomes little complex. Uh, it takes time to identify a spiritual personality. Yet, we are individual spiritual personalities, and we have a certain relationship with the Lord in the spiritual planets. We have a spiritual personality, and different spiritual personality also have different natures, but those are spiritual natures. I cannot give examples because we may not be able to relate to those examples here. Um, um, but just a understanding that even in spiritual world, different people have um, they are pure. They are pure means there is no lust, anger, envy, pride, false ego, but they have their nature. So when we see that, um, that is referred to as spiritual personalities. In our situation, because talking about myself, most of us are in the three modes. So our personality, which is governed by being Brahmanical, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, which is mostly applicable to most of us, it's the material personality which is dominant. And with purity, with sadhana, as we progress, then our spiritual personality will start coming out also as we advance in our Krishna consciousness. Spiritual personality is development of divine qualities. For example, humility. Humility is a spiritual quality. One may be a Kshatriya, dominating, task oriented, but yet at the same time he is very humble. Humble means he is doing everything kind of for the pleasure of the Lord. He may be like an active personality, but his motivation behind all that he is doing is to increase Krishna's pleasure, and to serve Krishna. But he has a certain way to deal with that situation. I would not call it Kshatriya. I am just calling it Kshatriya to relate to all of us. But I would say, well, it's a spiritual personality. It's beyond the three modes. It's a spiritual personality, and yeah, the personality has their own nature. So, but the divine qualities remain all the time. Development of divine qualities, destroying all demoniac qualities. uh, so yeah, this is what it is, spiritual personality. So now we are going to enter into what are the divine qualities and what are the demoniac qualities. So first, divine and demoniac. Imagine a mirror that could reveal your personality. Would you dare look? Some image. Okay. Okay, so let's have someone read this. We are beginning the chapter now.
Yeah, I will read Prabhuji. Divine and demoniac. Fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, nonviolence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature.
Mm. Now, this is something we have discussed a lot in the past. Still, it's always worthy to discuss more on divine qualities. So, something from Srila Prabhupada's purport. He says fearlessness. He says fearlessness is for those who are in the renounced order. Who are in renounced order. Um, if one thinks that if I leave home, then who will maintain me? Where will I get my food after 2 years? I have no money. So what will happen to my life? If the fear is there, then one should not accept renounced order. Um, a person who is fearless, he is convinced that well, Krishna will take care of me. I am depending on Krishna. Krishna will take care of me. Another thing is like a fearless person, he understands that I am never alone. Um, One time, some reporter asked Srila Prabhupada, you're traveling alone. Prabhupada said, I'm never alone. My Guru Maharaj is always with me. And also, the Lord in the heart is always accompanying us. So, even a person who is fearless, when he goes to the renounced people, especially in previous days and ages, now it's a very different culture in this day and age, but previously people would take renounced order and they would go to the forest and they would sleep and they would pass by where there are kind of ferocious snakes and other animals, but they are fearless in a way that well, my life is in Krishna's hands. um, Destiny is decided. So they kind of have faith on Krishna's protection. So they are fearless. So those people can take the renounced order. Mainly meant for those people. Purification of one's existence. Prabhupada says no intimate relationship with women and wealth. Prabhupada says because it becomes difficult if one desires. It has nothing to do with the ashram. But if one desires, then Prabhupada's interaction with women and men kind of um, 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 there is a good chance that may contaminate our consciousness. Then that's why there are rules and regulations. Is you do this only in this way. Particular sense gratification is allowed in certain situation, so that one don't degrade oneself. Then Prabhupada in the purport gave an example of Chota Haridas. Many of you are not aware of this story. We never introduced that. But some of you may have aware. I think we did do a seminar on Lord Chaitanya. We probably may discuss more about him in future. So, uh, mm, Radha Bhava Dyuti Swalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. So Krishna came in the mood of his own devotee, and Krishna's best devotee Srimati Radharani. So Krishna came in that mood of a devotee, and that is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He came to show by his own example how to make spiritual advancement. Because unless we have somebody who is practicing Krishna consciousness, it becomes difficult for us to actually apply Bhagavad Gita in our life. But it becomes much easier if somebody is living a life of Bhagavad Gita to see them, and then we relate their life with the verses, and then it makes much more sense. That's why Bhagavatam adds a lot of value, because Bhagavatam is lives of many devotees. So when we go to lives of many devotees, we see all the qualities, everything we read in Gita is actually being applied. So we cannot go to Bhagavatam unless we have to some extent got a basic understanding of what's in Bhagavad Gita, so that even if you don't remember, when we kind of repeat it, it kinds of um, mm, um, sinks in that, okay, yeah, I read something like that in the past. So Chota Haridas was in a renounced order, and he so renounced order people, they go and beg. So he went to a house and he begged for some rice, and a woman came out, and naturally the people, saintly people, are respected all over India especially. So a woman came out and she gave the rice, and Chota Haridas had some thought about the woman, but it is not described, but some thought. So he came back, and then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord Himself. So he understood what thought Chota Haridas had when he was begging rice. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told his devotees that I will never see Chota Haridas in my life again. Chota Haridas started crying. Chota Haridas was devastated that the Lord will never see me again, and nobody could understand why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is behaving in this way, that he will never see Chota Haridas. Chota Haridas is a sannyasi, very serious in spiritual life. Then why Mahaprabhu is behaving so strictly with Chota Haridas? But nobody could understand, but Chota Haridas understood that why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is dealing with me in such way. So this is something very natural, connected with Prabhupada's woman and wealth, that one may not be able to maintain one's purity of one's consciousness. One has to be um, no intimate relationship. This is again meant for denounced order, people denounced order. Then cultivation of spiritual knowledge, that is also a duty of renounced order. They have to read scriptures and live an exemplary life. Um, because it is, Prabhupada says in the purport that usually in Grahasth ashram is very busy ashram because of many responsibilities. So there is less time, and they can read scriptures, but there is still a limit. There is still a limit because the way the life goes in that order. So it is a duty of, it's also called swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means reading scriptures. So it's a duty of person renounced order, although everyone must read Bhagavad Gita and scriptures to the best of their ability. Krishna consciousness kind of takes us to hold together next level. Uh, Prabhupada says people renounced order should go home to give spiritual knowledge. If they cannot do that, then they should not accept renounced order. Renounced order is meant to travel, and because it is said that in previous ages, the like one example is Sukadev Goswami. Sukadev Goswami would go home to beg, because they don't cook. They go and beg whatever they get by begging, they eat. But the purpose of going home to home is not to get some food. That is just a that is just a medium, but the purpose is to enlighten them in Krishna consciousness. To somebody must tell them that well, everything that we are dealing in current situation is temporary by nature. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, we are all eternal living entities. Mamai Vamsa, Krishna says we are his part and parcel. It's utmost important that we work on developing our relationship with the Supreme Lord. That's who we really are. That's where we will get our inner satisfaction. And that's how you do this. So that's the purpose. They read scriptures, they go home to home, and they impart spiritual knowledge in the name of begging food. So again, this is cultivation of spiritual knowledge. And then there is charity. Charity is meant for householders, because householders is the only ashram that earn. Grasth ashram, they are the only ashram. So it is said that there is one ashram system. Brahmachari have their duties, grihastha have their duties, vanaprasth have their duties, sannyas have their duties. It is said that one of the main duty of grihastha ashram is charity. Brahmacharis don't earn, sannyasis don't earn, Vanaprastha don't earn. So it's the only one ashram that earns. And the householders, they have license for sense gratification. They have opportunity for sense gratification. But if they, and they may get very attached with their earnings and with their activities. But if they do some charity, it will bring renunciation, and they will develop some, it it will benefit them. And they maintain, because they maintain the other ashram, they get benefit from that, and they make spiritual progress by that. So charity is meant for householders. Brahmacharis, sannyasis, they are not meant to do charity. They do charity, but they do charity of spiritual knowledge, something like that. So Prabhupada says that earn honestly, not by foul means, and do some charitable work. Um, then self-control. Self-control is meant for householders. Self-control, because in renounced order, there is not much scope of sense gratification, not much scope. But in grahastha ashram, it's kind of, it's a closed ashram, so a lot of sense gratification can happen, and that will not be conducive for our spiritual life. So there requires self control. So self control is meant for householders. um, then there is performance of, Prabhupada says there, use of contraceptive methods, artificial methods, is demoniac. So better one practice self control. So that's a divine quality. Then there is performance of sacrifice, and Prabhupada says sacrifice is also meant for householders. But this is but for this day and age, because sacrifice involves lot of resources, lot of ghee, lot of brahmanas, and if you invite lot of brahmanas to do sacrifice, then you give them some charity also to brahmanas. So many such things are there. But in this day and age, those sacrifices are not recommended. It's only Sankirtan Yagya. So that is meant for all, everybody should perform in Sankirtan Yagya, chanting of the holy names. That is the most important sacrifice for this day and age. Study of Vedas, specifically for Brahmachari. Prabhupada said Brahmachari should practice complete celibacy, and even at the level of body and the level of mind. Brahmachari should have no relationship and no connection with women, and they should engage their mind in studying scriptures. So that is mainly meant for brahmacharis. Then austerities. Austerities is meant for retired life, vanaprastha. Vanaprastha. Those who are not much aware of this word, there are four social, there are four spiritual orders: brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. Vanaprastha naturally brings lot of attachments. Grihastha ashram brings lot of attachments. We can see more about it um, um, in Shrimad Bhagavatam. The nature of grihastha ashram is like, because of intimate relationship, uh, um, it's natural. Like Prahlad Maharaj says, if you look into the heart of a householder, you will see his spouse and his children. So lot of attachment develops there. But what is really important is, before we leave the body, the mind should be absorbed in Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajyate ante kalevaram tam tam evanti kaute sadatam bhava bhavita. He says, whatever we remember at the time of death, that decides our next birth. Now, I'm talking about those who are not devotees. Devotees are exceptionally great souls. Prabhupada would call them grihastha sannyasis and sannyasis, because they have a lot of sense control and they do everything that sannyasis and brahmacharis are supposed to do. So, devotees are exception. But a normal man, a conditioned soul, I'm talking about, because of the intimacy, he kind of develops strong attachment in those relationships, and that's the shelter he takes at the time of death. So many times there are many stories in Bhagavatam man because of attachment to woman become a woman, and woman becomes a man. So this is not recommended in scriptures, because scriptures are meant, the purpose of human life and the scriptures is meant to purify our existence and take us back home, back to Godhead. Apavarga hi apavarga apavarga sahi dharmasya. The purpose of dharma is liberation. Purpose of our activity is to become liberated. So because grahasthashram is has a particular nature, and lot of attachment comes in grahasthashram, a lot of possessiveness comes in grahasthashram. So this charity helps to develop some kind of renunciation, and it brings some kind of pain in the heart, and that kind of brings some renunciation there. And also vanaprastha is meant to kind of cut the ties, the strong ties. That's why there cannot be sannyas from grahastha. There is a austere life. Austere life is self accepted difficult living. So that's like austerity. So they go to the forest. Now it's not practical in our day and age. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, "Grihe thako, vane thako, sada hari bole thako." He said there is no need of sannyas. Um, whether you are vanaprastha, whether you are grihastha, it doesn't matter, as long as sada hari bole thako. As long as you're always chanting the names of Hari, the attachments will not attack you. You will get the strength to be able to live a very saintly life independent of your ashram. So, originally, we do not belong to any ashram. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is a famous verse, ना हम विप्रो ना च नरपति ना पि वैश्यनो शूद्रो ना हम वन्नी ना च गृहपति ना वनिस्थो यतेर्वा किंतु प्रोदम निखिला परमानंद पूर्णामृताब्धे गोपी भर्तृ पद कमल दास दासन दास. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describe, we are not grahasthas, we are not brahmacharis. These are designations, upadhis. Neither we are brahmana, nor we are kshatriya, nor we are shudra, nor we are vaishya. This is all upadhi. Jivera Swarup Hoy Krishna Nitya Das. We have only one designation, that we are part and parcel of Krishna. Gopi Bhartru Pada Kamalya Das Dasanu Das. Servant of the Lord, and servant of the devotees of the Lord. Yet, because of these upadhis, we identify ourselves with these upadhis, and because of the intimacy and possessions and earnings, possession and attachment comes. So, austerity is like vanaprastha, they practice that. And once they develop detachment, then sannyas is possible. So, austerity is mainly meant for vanaprastha ashram. And then there is simplicity. um, sim- Simplicity, austerity, something on austerity. We will discuss more in 17th chapter, a very important topic, that is austerity of body, austerity of mind, and austerity of speech. And austerity of speech is like pleasing words, truthful. Austerity of body is bowing down, cleaning the temple. Austerity of mind is not engaging the mind in sense gratification. Um, um, mm, Gratitude, satisfaction, gravity. Gravity means speaking when required. So many of these things are austerity. So we will discuss about different kinds of austerities when we come to the 17th chapter. Then there is simplicity. Simplicity, Prabhupada says, is for everyone. Prabhupada said, simplicity means no duplicity. Simplicity means being straightforward. Another place Prabhupada says, simple means you should be able to reveal the truth even to your enemy. So that's being simple, means what inside, what's outside. So its opposite is being duplicitous or being manipulative. Manipulative means you want to get something done. You have a personal motive, but you present it in such a way that other person should buy you. You show him in such a way that it is for your benefit, but actually we are doing it for our benefit. So many examples can be given, not going in detail, but simplicity means inside outside same. That's being simple and straightforward and truthful. Then there is non-violence. Non-violence means uh, don't kill animals. Non-violence. Devotees are non-violent. Why should we cause violence to somebody for ourselves? I mean, we are so much not in favor of sense gratification. There is no question of killing somebody for the satisfaction of our tongue. Plus, many things are spoken in scriptures. Killing animals is called mamasa. Mamasa means it will come back to me. But the pain we give to others, the nature of karma is going to come back to us. So why to create a ghastly future for ourselves tomorrow? On the first hand, devotees are peaceful people. So if we are peaceful, how can we cause violence to others? On the other hand, it's going to come back to us. On the third hand, the animals are progressing in their life. They are going through an evolutionary cycle. For example, if a cow is meant to live for 10 years, and if we cut the cow, then after 4 years or 5 years or 6 years, then the cow has to come back and live for 4 more years. So that's a lot of pain and lot of kind of very difficult situation. So she goes through it, but then we get the reaction for that. So it is not their evolutionary progress is checked. It is not recommended. So that is non-violence. Truthfulness. Truthfulness purposes should not change the truth for one's personal interests. I want things in a certain way, so I will change the truth. One Grahastha was telling me that him and his wife, they both are very wonderful devotees. And he was telling me that we both quote the Shastras to prove that we are right. So it's like being okay, okay. So truthfulness. So it's like quoting the scriptures for personal needs. So or quoting or changing the truth for personal needs. Um, so that's truthfulness. Another thing of truthfulness is many times we read the scriptures and we understand it in a way or we misunderstand it in a way that what the way we want to understand it. So that becomes like altering the meaning of scriptures or verses of Bhagavad Gita. That's also not recommended. Rather, one should approach spiritual master and then understand Bhagavad Gita as it is. Otherwise, it won't be helpful. Then after truthfulness, there is akrodha. Akrodha. Akrodha means freedom from anger. And Prabhupada says, even if there is provocation, one should tolerate. Prabhupada, another place, he said, the greatness of a personality can be known by one's ability to tolerate provoking situation. The world is designed in such a way that it will frustrate us and things will not go our way. And sometimes it's instantaneous and we are not even prepared for that. But then slowly we have to work on akrodha. Is can we drink the poison? Can we tolerate? Prabhupada says once angry, whole body becomes polluted. Fume starts coming out from the body. The whole body, the body creates poison actually when the body becomes angry, and the mind is distorted, can't even think. So these are godly qualities. We may not have them, but we may try to work on them. But you will get all these qualities if because, for example, anger. Anger is a quality of mode of ignorance. So because we have ignorance, tamogun, the anger will come. So one thing is to tolerate. It's a temporary solution. Another thing Krishna says, Mam chaya vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate saguna samati taitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Krishna says, avyabhichari bhakti. You render devotional service to him. If you render avyabhichari bhakti, then you go to mode of goodness and you transcend. So as you raise your modes, if mode of ignorance is reducing, our anger will reduce. So one thing is to tolerate, but it's a temporary solution and it won't really help us. At some point of time we will burst out once our limit has reached. But if you work on devotional service seriously, then um, then just wait and anger will go away. Just be serious in your Krishna consciousness. Another thing is, if suppose our spouse becomes angry, but if they are try to sincerely practice Krishna consciousness, then we should not find fault in them. Prabhupada gave an example of a man in the shower. He said if a man is very dirty, But if he's taking shower, then very soon he will come out clean. So even if he is dirty, let's not criticize him because he's already in the shower. He may be dirty. Likewise, we may not have all these divine qualities, but if we are engaging in Krishna consciousness, so let's not find fault in those who are already engaged in Krishna consciousness, because they are already cleaning themselves. Prabhupada said, just like a fan, if you turn it off, it's slowing down. It takes time for the fan to stop. Just like you stop electricity, the fan does not stop all of a sudden. It takes some time. Likewise, we have stopped engaging, a devotee has stopped engaging in sinful activities, but some remnants of attachments remains, and it takes some time. But by the gradual practice of Krishna consciousness, these divine qualities will naturally develop. So there is akrodha, then there is renunciation. Renunciation means detachment from results of one's activities. Renunciation. Then there is tranquility. Tranquility means being peaceful in all situations. It's a Brahminical quality. Then there is aversion to fault finding. And Prabhupada says one should not correct others unnecessarily. Aversion to fault finding. Even if you see the fault, by pointing it out, they're not going to change. Because as we discussed, material personality, they have a personality. That personality is based on modes. Even Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmana is based on modes. Mode of goodness, Brahmana; mode of passion, goodness, Kshatriya; passion, ignorance, Vaishya; and mode of ignorance, Shudra. So these qualities are based on modes. So they are in particular modes. That's why they have certain qualities. Now they may not be divine qualities, especially if they are in mode of passion, ignorance. Divine qualities won't exist. But then there is no point of finding the fault. Rather, you encourage them in Krishna consciousness, because what's the benefit of pointing the problem when the problem cannot be solved just by pointing them? Rather, you work on the solution. Be the part of a solution. So you encourage them. So that's why a devotee is averse to finding fault. Does not find fault. We should not unnecessarily correct others unnecessarily. But Prabhupada said, to call a thief is okay. If somebody is a thief and you say, well, he's a thief, we have to be careful, that's good. But if someone is honest and we find fault in them, that will be detrimental for our spiritual life. Then there is compassion. Compassion can be at the level of body, mind, and soul. Compassion at the level of body, somebody is sick and we feel for them. At the level of mind, compassion is somebody is disturbed, emotionally not fulfilled, or and they went through a traumatical experience, mental. So then we feel for them. That's compassion for mind. And compassion for soul is, this person is not connected to Krishna. As long as one is not connected to Krishna, nature of this material world is dukkhalyam ashashvatam. This material world is full of anxiety. Some of the other things will keep breaking, and there is karma bandhana, and there is 8.4 million species of life. So one feels. So these are three different level of compassion. Compassion at the level of soul is the highest. Most of the people, they in this world, they are falsely compassionate. Like, okay, now it's good to be compassionate at the level of body, but if the compassion is only at the level of body, it's a sign of ignorance. Prabhupada said compassion at the level of body alone is ignorance, because then we think I am this body, they are this body, and to treat the body is the goal of my life, and I don't have a higher goal, neither do they have a higher goal. Let's keep the bodies together. How long will you keep the bodies together? At some point of time, they'll start feeling and they'll go away, because they are temporary by nature. If not by corona, then by cancer. Not by cancer, by heart attack. Not by heart attack, maybe natural death. Otherwise, maybe a car accident. Otherwise, maybe kidney, liver, or diabetes, or you name it. There are n number of ways a laptop can fail. So bodies are going to go away at some point of time. So compassion only at the level of body is a sign of ignorance, but it should be the level of all three. Today, most of the people, they feel for others' bodies, but they don't feel for other soul because they are in ignorance and they see everybody else in ignorance also. And this ignorance was captured by Arjuna. Arjuna was very compassionate. How can I cause pain to the bodies of my brothers and relatives? How can I kill them? And Krishna told him, you are a Arya. How have these impurities come upon you? You are looking only level of body. You're not able to fight because of your own bodily attachments. So Krishna chastised them. But when a common man who is in ignorance, when he reads these verses between Krishna and Arjuna, he finds fault in Krishna, saying that Krishna is promoting fighting. Arjuna is a peaceful man and Krishna is telling, no, you should fight. So their ignorance is coming there even when they are reading Bhagavad Gita. That's why Prabhupada said Bhagavad Gita can be understood only in association of devotees. Otherwise, we will have our own interpretation about Bhagavad Gita, and some of them even find fault in Krishna while reading Bhagavad Gita, who Krishna says the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because they don't have a spiritual vision. So, this is something about compassion at the level of body, mind, and soul. Then there is freedom from covetousness. Covetousness means greed. So, freedom from greed. Freedom from greed means always satisfied. Greed means never satisfied. I'm not happy with what I have. So I need some more. Maybe if I have some more, I'll be happy. Maybe little more. So a godly quality is being satisfied. That's a Brahminical quality. He's satisfied. Mhm. Mode of passion is greed. Then there is gentleness. Gentleness means being gentle means being pleasing to others. Being gentle. Narad Muni says um, two instances from Bhagavatam. One is Narad Muni and one is Sutta Goswami. We will see that if we come to the point of reading Bhagavatam. Sutta Goswami says that uh, he was very gentle and that's why he pleased his spiritual master. And Narad Muni also says the same thing, that he was very gentle. So gentleness is very helpful for making spiritual progress. Opposite to gentleness is being a ruffian, being harsh. That's not being gentle. Gentleness is a godly quality. And then there is modesty. Modesty means unassuming, being humble. Modesty. Then there is steady determination. Should not be agitated or frustrated in some attempt. There may be failures. Steady determination means there may be failures, but they don't stop those activities because of failure, but they are determined. This is a godly quality. Now speaking with respect to uh, our spiritual life, Krishna consciousness, determination is required. Like for example, even in attending Bhagavad Gita discussions, now we have determination. Let's read what Krishna says. It's as if Krishna personally coming and speaking to us, because same words is the word spoken by Krishna. Or some of you are chanting the holy names. Determination there is, let me do it every day. There, sometime I may feel like, sometime I may not feel like, but there is a steady determination which is required. Um, we don't become like frustrated in our spiritual progress, but okay, let me be patient, let me wait for Lord's mercy to come, and let me continue with determination. This is what Krishna says, this is the right thing to do. Many have done it, they have got immensely benefited. I will also get immensely benefited. Is the right thing to do. Let me do it. And lack of determination means maybe it's difficult. So maybe I won't be able to do. So determination is a godly quality. Then there is vigor. Vigor, Prabhupada says, is for Kshatriyas. Vigor means very like they give protection. Kshatriya means, they lead, they rule, but they also protect their citizens. So that requires vigor. Um, then there is forgiveness. Prabhupada says should excuse minor offenses from others. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Let's not take others' mistakes very seriously and break the relationship forever. Or at small things, take things very seriously. We also make mistakes. Now, we make mistakes all the time. others also make mistakes. My spiritual master says, when others make mistake, if you forgive them, then when you make mistake, you will be forgiven. But if you don't forgive others, then we are not like, pure souls. So we also make mistakes. Then the reaction will be, when we make mistakes, we will also not be forgiven. So forgiveness is important. Should excuse the minor offenses of others. Um, then the next is fortitude. Fortitude means courage. Courage to go through difficult times. Many people, when when the life is difficult, when there are many obstacles, they have a tendency to give up. But fortitude means it's a godly quality. Fortitude means continue, success or failure. Let's keep trying. Keep that. So that courage is required. That is fortitude. It's a godly quality. Cleanliness not only of the body and mind, but in dealings also. And Prabhupada says, especially in business people, Prabhupada said they should be clean dealings, even in earning. But naturally, we know the level of body cleanliness and level of mind, we clean by sadhana, by spiritual practice, personal spiritual practice. Then freedom from envy. Envy comes, I think we were discussing just now, just before this, we were discussing. Envy comes from material desires. When we have material desires and somebody gets those desires fulfilled that we want, then we'll envy them. So envy comes because of material desire. So freedom from envy is a godly quality. From the passion for honor, um, passion. So freedom from envy and freedom from passion for honor. Um, um, if somebody don't respect us in a way, and uh, um, if we are okay with that, if we don't, if it doesn't really matter to us if they respect or not, but independent of if they respect me or not, I'm going to look for their welfare, then we are free from the passion for honor. But having the passion for honor means others should respect me. If they don't, I'll become angry at them, or why they are doing like this. So freedom from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities of son of Bharata belong to the godly men endowed with divine nature. So once again, we have discussed some more divine qualities. We discussed these divine qualities in in chapter 12th, in chapter 13th, and now again in chapter 16th. And the rest of the chapter, which we will see next week, will be focusing on demoniac qualities. Okay, are there any questions? We are good for today from my side. Okay, wonderful. We'll end here. Vansha kalpa tarubhesha kripa sindhubhe evacha patita nam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavendra ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.